Hey guys, Matt here with ubj.com, and today I just want to do a little talk here with you guys on septum stretching and just some basic info pertaining to stretching your septum. So first off, let's just start that stretching your septum is a lot like stretching your ears. There's some definitely obvious differences there, but for the most part, it's a lot like stretching your ears. All the same rules apply. When you're stretching your septum, let's say you have a healed septum, what you want to do is only stretch one size every month to 2 months. Now that would be the quickest and the fastest you could possibly stretch your septum, or I'd recommend stretching your septum. Now, the longer you wait, so let's say if you gave it 6 months, that's way better in between stretches. And also it's gonna be a lot easier on you. Stretching your septum is no joke, all right? So when you stretch your septum, it's pretty sore, it's pretty tender, it makes your eyes water. It's not a fun one to do, okay? But none of them are. You just gotta look at it like the outcome is really awesome and amazing, and that's what you're going for anyway. The whole, soreness and the teary eye, that's all just part of the process to get where you need to go. So when you stretch your septum, stretching your septum should only be done with single flare jewelry or a ring of the proper size. Now, let's just say, for instance, if you're at a 14 gauge, all right? Now your next size up is gonna be a 12 gauge. Now don't go skipping, trying to go from a 14 to a 10 gauge, because that's gonna be too much too soon. You wanna go 14 to 12 gauge. Now there's several ways to get you to that point. The best way and the most obvious way should be go seek out a professional piercer in your area, and those guys will help you get there really quick and smoothly. They'll cause the most minimal amount of damage, and they'll just put in the right jewelry, and just everything should be how it's supposed to be done. Now, I know some of you guys don't have access to a professional piercer in your area. That's fine, not everybody does. If you can seek one out, really good, once again, but if you don't, not the end of the world. What you need to do is get your hands on a taper. So a taper is really gonna make a world of difference for you. A taper is basically something that starts really small and then goes up to the size of the jewelry you're trying to get to. In this case, 14 to 12 gauge. Now on one end of the taper, ideally you want to have something like a concave. Now what a concave does, it just helps when you butt your jewelry up against it to keep that connection, all right? So you don't lose a connection during your stretch and you gotta do it all over again. Now the second thing with that you're gonna want is some sort of lubrication. So a water-based lubrication is what you're looking for. Something such as a KY or a Lubriderm, or just any type of lube that is gonna help that taper slide through your piercing. So hopefully that is obvious and you've already learned that from watching previous videos, such as our ear stretching videos and stuff of that nature. Now, when it comes to stretching your septum is not like your earlobes. Your septum is cartilage, all right? So it's a lot more dense. What that means is when you stretch your septum, you're gonna condense a lot of that cartilage. So basically that cartilage is gonna kind of all push up into itself. Eventually, you're gonna get some distortion in your nose, okay? Now, everybody's different, everybody's noses are different, everybody's nose shapes are different. So if you're just going, let's say from a 14 gauge and you're stretching up to say a 2 gauge, you're probably gonna be fine. You're not gonna really notice too much distortion. Now after 2 gauge, and once again, everybody's different, but after 2 gauge, you might notice a little bit of distortion in your septum. For me personally, I was able to stretch mine up to about a 0 or double 0. I'm pretty sure it was double 0 before I really started noticing my nose kind of starting to bubble out a little bit. It's just kind of getting more round than it is right now. If you want to kind of combat that and you don't want to worry about that distortion, if your plan is to go really large like that, then just get it punched out to the size you're trying to go to. So let's say 2 gauge is your goal. Professional piercer in your area should be able to pierce you safely to that size. And there are methods to make that happen for you. But just make sure you seek out someone who knows what they're doing and feels really confident, has even done it many times before you. While we're on that topic of nose distortion, it's just like your earlobes. When you start stretching your ears, they're gonna change shape. So if you're going big with your septum, you're gonna change your nose's shape a little bit. If you're just going small, everything from 14 gauge or whatever up to 2 gauge, or who knows where you're trying to go, but as long as you're in those smaller sizes, it shouldn't be a problem. The cartilage just kind of condenses upon itself and compresses, and it's all good. So once you've gotten to your desired size for that stretch, you're gonna have some aftercare involved. So usually after a stretch, depending on how intense it was and how long you waited in between stretches, your septum's gonna be pretty sore, and there is a minimal amount of damage inside that piercing now. So you need to heal that. Everybody's different, but for the most part, you're probably looking around a week to 2 weeks of soreness and tenderness. From my personal experience, the first week kind of sucked. You're gonna feel, swelling all in the area, and it's gonna be really sore to the touch, and everything you know is gonna feel really, really tight, obviously. Saltwater soaks. Once again, go and do saltwater soaks on it, nothing else. No hydrogen peroxide, no alcohol, no Neosporin, no Bactine. Just saltwater soaks. Saltwater soaks is really gonna help that heal as quickly and efficiently as possible. If you're not sure of the saltwater soaks, we have plenty of previous videos where we go into depth on how to do the saltwater soaks. Just go and scroll down and check those out. So yeah, soak that thing in salt water, once or twice a day. Usually a week to 2 weeks, you should be feeling back to normal. It will be sore and tender a little bit still, but for the most part, it should be good to go again. Don't stretch again for another month to 2 months. So no matter how badly you want to get to that next size, wait it out, all right? So for the septum, the longer you can wait, it's always the better. And I promise you, after that stretch, you're probably gonna wait as long as possible anyway. So month to 2 months, if you can give it 6 months, it's even better, but definitely give it some time between stretching. So guys, hopefully that's some helpful info on some basic septum stretching. Just remember, keep it safe, keep your piercing healthy, and hopefully it all works out for you guys. Any questions or inquiries, track down a piercer in your local area. Man, that's the best advice really I can give you, and they can answer anything or help you with anything you need. So thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next video.